Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, how are you? Well, we hope you're doing great today. Okay, firstly, let me introduce ourselves. My name is Roofi Kusuma Dewi, my student number is 180 105 0044, and my partner.
Hi, I'm Frisca Putri Agillia, and my student number is 1801050052.
Alright, so on this occasion, we will explain about education in different countries. And yeah, we have provided 4 different countries, and they are Finland, Indonesia, Singapore, and Nigeria. So yeah, we will talk about their education system. But before we jump to the education talk, first we will talk about PISA rank. But what is PISA rank? Okay, without wasting any time, my partner will give you the explanation first. So enjoy the presentation.
Education is one of the factors that can indicate a country to be said as a successful developed country. With the existence of education, it will affect the values, beliefs, and behavior that can make humans more development-oriented. It also brings a change in perspective on individuals, such as to encourage productivity and work efficiency. Now, let's see the data of student assessment from Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development by a program called PISA to see the ranks of some countries that we will discuss today. PISA itself is a program that measures 50 years old student reading, mathematics, and science literacy every 3 years. As we can see there are 3 countries that are Singapore, Finland, and Indonesia, exclude Niger. These data were obtained from the last 3 periods. First, let's see the data from 2012. In 2012, the number of countries that joined this program was 65 countries. And Singapore ranked 2nd, Finland ranked 12th, and Indonesia ranked 64th. Now, let's move on to the year of 2015. In 2015, Singapore ranked 1st, Finland ranked 8th, and Indonesia ranked 62nd out of 70 countries. And then the recent one was in 2018. That Singapore ranked 2nd, Finland ranked 10th, and Indonesia ranked 71st out of 77 countries. From the data, we can conclude that Singapore and Finland are well-developed countries, so the ranks were high. And Indonesia is a developing country, so the rank was poor, but it's increased year by year. Now that you have generally imagined the education system in each country from the data, now let's examine it in more depth. Okay, all of us already know that Finland is known for its best education system in the world. They apply 9 years compulsory education basic and secondary education starting from the age of 7 to 16. Taking senior high school and university is optional, but every education level there is fully funded by the government. That's it about the system. Now, let's move on to the learning environment. The learning environment in Finland is relaxed. The school starts at 9 to 9:45 in the morning and ends at 2 to 2:45 in the afternoon. They learn for 45 minutes and then take a break for 15 minutes. They only need 90 minutes to finish the assignment given by the teacher in a day. And the number of students in a class isn't too many. There are only 20 to 25 students in a class that can make teacher easy to control the class. And there is no competition among them. They prioritize cooperation more than competition. And also, there is no discrimination against them. Every student from different social levels gets the same treatment from the school. And there is no examination system. The examination is only for them who want to continue their study to the secondary level and university, but it doesn't determine the graduation. Another factor that makes education in Finland is considered as the best education system in the world is the educators. Teacher salary in Finland is relatively high at 31 million rupiah per month. The teaching profession is considered as a prestigious profession equals to lawyers and doctors because the recruitment process is difficult. They have to at least graduate from master degree and have to master Finnish and Swedish. Teachers in Finland are free to develop their own teaching strategies, materials, and things related to teaching, since the government only regulates the target that must be achieved in the learning process. That's all about the education in Finland. The next one is education in Indonesia. Education in Indonesia is considered as one of the national problems, even though it's getting better time by time. But there are some things that still need to be fixed. Indonesia applies 12 years compulsory schooling starting at the age of 7 to 18 from elementary to senior high school. The government allocates 20% of total state budget to improve access and quality of education in Indonesia by providing the bus and bidik misi programs to eliminate the education fee. And about the learning environment in Indonesia is kindergarten. Generally, schools start at 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. with only 2 or 3 times break for 15 to 45 minutes. The subjects are already provided by the school and the student have to master all of them. That's why many of them have tutors because they think that learning in school isn't enough. And sometimes the teacher gives too many assignments in order to make the student understand the material better. But actually, it makes the student didn't get enough rest and stress a lot. Many teachers set an assessment at every end of the material. However, this kind of way just make the student excel at the knowledge and they usually will forget it after it is done. Therefore, the teacher will set the learning activity to make the student pass the exam. And also about the facility, the school facility might be different from one to another. There are some schools that have good quality of facilities while the rest of them don't. There are also some schools that are hard to reach because they are located in
A remote area.
And about the educators, teachers in Indonesia must at least have bachelor degree in education and the recruitment process through the CPNS selection system. Teachers are given the authority to design their own learning materials, but in essence, these things are not exist. Teachers can only develop the standard that has been set by the government, and their salary is relatively low. However, lately the government has begun to pay attention on welfare of teachers through a teacher certification allowance program. That's all about Indonesia education system.
Okay, so the next I will be continuing the explanation about education in Singapore. Yeah, we all know that Singapore is the only country that categorized as a developed country which located in Southeast Asia. The question is, how this happened? Why not Indonesia? Why Singapore? Well, one of those many reasons that turned Singapore to be a developed country is because the education system that implemented there. Okay, for the next explanation, let's take a look on the slide. Okay, the Singapore education system made based on the premise that every student has their own unique talents and interests. So here, Singapore takes a flexible approach to fostering the students' potential. The excellence of the education system in Singapore lies in its bilingual policy and its curriculum, which emphasizes innovation and entrepreneurial spirit. So yeah, these two things are like the central of why education in Singapore is made. And then the Singaporean Ministry of Education has said the education level starts from preschool to university. And yeah, it is just like in Indonesia, I think. There include 3 years of preschool. The preschool itself starts from the age of 3 until 6 years old. And then followed by primary school, which takes 6 years, and then secondary school for 4 years, and the university level, which take about 1 until 3 years. But there is one interesting thing about education in Singapore, and it is because there is only one kind of secondary school, and it is different from Indonesia. In Indonesia, we have two kinds, and they are junior high school and senior high school. Okay, now let's move to the next slide. It is about the learning overview. In general, classroom instruction in Singapore is highly scripted and uniform across all levels and subjects. The classes are focused on teaching students practical skills that will help them to solve problems in the real world later. While the learning material itself are oriented towards science and technology, in order to create skilled workers who are ready to use in the industrialized country of Singapore, which is in line with the Singaporean view of life. These materials include mathematics, English, a variety of economic knowledge, information technology and social culture, humanity, and moral education. But however, it is very different with Finland. As my partner said before, that Finland there is no examination unless they want to continue their education to the next level, to the higher level. But different with Singapore, the examination are extremely important for Singaporean education, and classes are tightly oriented around exam. These exams serve as gateways to enter the higher level of each education that students will attend later. So yeah, this is just like in Indonesia. Okay, so I will say that behind the success of education, there are great educators. So on this slide, we will talk about educators in Singapore. The educators in Singapore can be one of many factors that causes Singapore to be the country with the best education system in Southeast Asia, or maybe in the world. In Singapore education world, to become a teacher, you are required to have a screening test, which is the level is very, very strict. So this is not just like a playing games at all. They are really take this seriously about the education. So this is one of the form that Singaporean is really care about the education. And then the good news is the acceptance of prospective teachers adjusted to the teachers that need it. So it's like a guarantee that every prospective teachers in Singapore will definitely have a job as teacher. And after they pass the selection, they will get like a training, a pre-work. So it's like a training that the prospective teacher will get before they can teach students. In addition, the salaries given to teachers in Singapore are also high, so the welfare of the teachers to be guaranteed. And there are also other factors that support the success of Singaporean education, and it is due to adequate facilities. Yeah, we can admit that the existence of facility is really important for the educational world. Because why? Facility can help students it can help teachers to reach their goals, their students' goals or teacher goals, like that. So in Singapore, all schools in Singapore has free internet access, so students can access anything that related about school thing at school. And in every school, it also provides like an official website school, which used to connect teachers, parents, and students at like it's like a place to connect them and involve parents to know how the progress of their children at school, like that. And talking about the tuition fee for having an education in Singapore, it is not free, but the cost of education is very cheap, so that everyone in that country can get an education easily. So that's the Singaporean education system. And now let's move to the Nigerian education. How is it like? Take a look on the slide. Nigeria has the largest population of any country in Africa, and it is one of the countries with the most diverse population, which is consisting of more than 300 ethnic groups who have different cultures and languages. But now let's talk about the education in Nigeria. Education in Nigeria is overseen by the Federal Ministry of Education. The local authorities take responsibility for implementing state-controlled policy regarding public education and state schools. The education system is divided into kindergarten, primary education, secondary education, and tertiary education, and it is consisting of 1 year of preschool, 6 years for primary school, 3 years of junior secondary school, and then 3 years of senior secondary school, and the last is 4 years for the higher education level. And there is the universal basic education, or they call it as UBE. The UBE is the new policy that implemented in Nigerian schools education. This came as a replacement of the previous policy, which is called as universal primary education. And the newest policy is the innovation to enhance the success of the first 9 years of schooling, which involves 6 years of primary school education and 3 years of junior secondary school education. Therefore, the law finally stipulates a 9-year formal schooling. So schools in Nigeria are administered directly by the federal government through the Ministry of Education. However, the tuition fee is considered very low because it's partially funded by the federal government. Although the education is supposed to be almost free at most state-owned institutions, students are still required to purchase books, uniforms, and pay for other things for about $130 in one academic year. So yeah, as I said before, that it is not totally free, but almost free. Okay, move to the next slide. It's about the learning environment in Nigerian schools or in Nigerian education world. Learning environment is one of the most important factors determining the success of an effective curriculum. It is maybe referred as a place in which teaching and learning, as well as other indoors and outdoors activities that help students achieve life set goals take place. The learning environment in Nigeria's schools may be said to be very poor, inadequate, and unconducive for both teachers and students. Many of students live and study in crowded and noisy hostels that are without proper ventilation and portable waters. The classroom blocks are dilapidated. The students and teachers also subjected to inhuman conditions due to low quality of the learning environment. Many students are forced to hang out around the windows and entrance doors because the classroom was filled up to the brim and there were not enough seats for those who happened to be in the crowded and hot classroom. The teachers deliver lectures with the aid of microphone because of the overwhelming numbers of students who are scattered over the warehouse-type classroom. But basically, the quality of educational environment could be identified as crucial for effective learning, and the quality of instruction may improve if teachers are affiliated with adequate learning environment conditions. If the environment conditions is adequate, the relationship will be cordial and outcoming the productive result. So this is the importance of having a proper learning environment for students and teachers, because it can help them, either students or teacher, to reach their goals in education world. But here it is again, educators factors still become one of those problems for education in Nigeria, because the education in Nigeria is still low. Teachers are required to have a bachelor's degree in education or in any certain subject area. But however, in the reality, not all teachers have that degree. So there are many unqualified teachers that can be found in Nigerian schools. On the other hand, schools often understaffed due to low state budgets and lack of incentives, also irregularities in staff salary payments. There is also another problem in Nigerian education world, and it is about the existence of gender disparities in access to the education. This kind of problem still happens, and as the evidence, there is like a discriminatory practices in the education field. Like for example, it happened mostly for girls or women, maybe girls, because in many areas in Nigeria, girls or women are still uneducated well. And now let's hit to the conclusion. Education is one of the most crucial things for a country. Education taken by the citizens could determine the future of the country. However, every country couldn't use the same education system because each country may have their own policy to its state condition, state income difference, and the behavior of citizens. Therefore, there are several things to be considered to create a successful education, such as the education policies itself, and then the environment and all the things related to it, and then the educators, also parents and government who are support the education itself, because without any cares, education will not develop well, while one of the keys to the successful of the country is education. Okay, so this is the end of our presentation, and we hope you can get a new perspective, a new knowledge from this topic. Yeah, and we would like to say thank you for everyone who joining this presentation by watching our presentation. Thank you very much, and see you in another presentation video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.